Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, instead of talking about the heroes being the people I made a video about last week, I'm going to talk about the villains. And there's going to be like the main villain and then her trusty sidekicks. And I feel like their dynamic would probably be better than most villain dynamics.
Are you sure about that?
I feel like the main villain, should be more of like a mother figure. And that's who we're drawing right now. So this is Placky Noral. I designed her name.
What?
Well, I didn't really design her name.
Here's tip number 4. Just get on with it.
I just saw it on like a ruler I had and I thought, oh, perfect. That's what I'll call her. I'm just going to read my notes here from, 2022. So apparently she's actually Varta's real mother, which is shocking, breathtaking. I mean, it's just kind of the ultimate betrayal. It's quite scary, really. I mean, who is Varta's real mother? We'll never know. I guess she didn't know. Apparently she became a magical girl because she wanted money, but she doesn't really say who. Maybe she didn't know who her parents were, and well, this is the answer. The main villain. So the main villain, she's quite sweet. She wants to take it easy on the magical girls because she knows they're quite young. They don't really have experience fighting, and so she's just gonna I don't know actually why she's fighting in the first place. I didn't give her a reason here, but I just knew she was gonna be one of those hot villains, you know, with those like attractive outfits. But we're getting sidetracked. We need to go back onto the original concern, which was, what's her aim? What is she trying to achieve? And I have some thoughts on this. Now I'm thinking, what if she wants Freya's power? So Freya has the orbs that she can control. So what if they're like really powerful and can be passed on from user to user? So maybe not just from a line of genetics, but literally it's like the case of All Might, basically, eat this. So what if it's that? What if that's how she, got her power and how the villain wants to get her power as well? I'm thinking the villain has to be strong somehow, but maybe she wants more. She hasn't had enough, and perhaps some trauma in her past made her want even more power to protect herself, but it's just gone too far and she hasn't realised. There's no one there to tell her about this. I'm thinking maybe that's like a reasoning. So from here on out, I'll just be explaining kind of what I've been drawing. So of course this is, and I've forgotten her name, yay, the main villain, and I was trying out a new pen on ibispaint, which is really fun. It's like I think it's called the Love Pen. I really like the line weight of it. It's like kind of, I don't know how to describe it, it's like rounded. It's not like a watercolour pen, for example. It's more solid, more like a ballpoint pen. But it has a thing where the ends, once you finish the line, it's like really thick, it's pretty in concept, but when actually drawing it, it was really annoying. And there are bits where you can see that the lines look so disjointed and ugly because of all this nonsense, really, all this dots. The colours, I mainly tried keeping the same colours that I used in the original drawings, so the kind of bright red and the bright green, except I tried muting them a bit, especially for the hair. I thought maybe bright red, like literally bright red, maybe wouldn't be the best idea, so I just toned it down a bit and shifted it a bit to the pink. And the green, I definitely tried making it less like bright and obnoxious. And I think it worked. It looks quite okay, quite chill. It looks less intense on the eyes, and I think the hair, the pinkish colour kind of goes with the skin tone as well. But I'm not really a master in colour. I made these drawings when I was on holiday and I didn't really have all of my coloured pens with me, so I basically had to just make up the colours as I went along, and I thought, oh, red and green are complementary, so just slap those two together and bam, you've got yourself some lovely colours. And that's it kind of worked. I definitely I fixed the foot situation because at first she was barefoot, and whilst that would be a cool idea, I feel like it would also be really impractical. So I think she would probably be the type of person to have her grippers out.
Put those grippers away!
but I think she can keep those out whilst wearing the sandals, which are still more practical and she can walk around in. And I just made up those sandals. Who knows whether they would actually stay on your foot and be in any way practical. I mean, I assume she's fighting and she probably needs to have quite a lot of range, but you know, it's okay. It's fine. Anime logic. We open this segment with not only the previous segment overrunning into this speed draw, but also with a terrible sketch, which are anatomically incorrect, of the two siblings, the twins. There's the older one by an hour, which is the one at the top, and the younger one by an hour. And yeah, they're apparently 27 years old. And the real question we need to ask here, well, you won't see it yet. I'll get to it once we arrive at that point. But very importantly, in my notes, I've written here that the younger one has pure white hair. That has been now switched in the drawing. Look, colouring hair is difficult, okay? And I thought maybe I should try a gradient. And what if they had two different gradients with the same colours, just gradient into a different way? So the younger one now has light hair which gradients into the darker grey that the older one was supposed to have. And the older one now has grey hair which transitions into the white that the younger one is supposed to have. Now apparently the younger one, I just realised, look, I'm sure I'll pull up a picture, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Anyway, the younger one is apparently the more adventurous one, and interestingly I've noted she has thicker foot soles than other people, which is why she's running around barefoot. I don't understand why I keep giving all my villains empty feet, no shoes, but it's okay, it's fine. The anime logic, animes again, it's fine. Oh good, now you can see it. The leotards, what on earth was I thinking? Why would any self-respecting individual run around in just a leotard? I'd understand in like maybe an underground establishment, but you know, as a villain you need to be prim and proper, you know? And maybe in this world they do look presentable, but I feel like it's unrealistic. I didn't change it in the drawing because I don't like change and I hate doing extra work, but for sure I feel like they would have probably more practical clothes, maybe like still leather, but probably covering their arms, their legs. I feel like it would be probably safer. Honestly, these are terrible designs, maybe in theory, but practically, even visually, like, what is going on? I mean, you can tell they're, like, supposed to be working together. I don't know if you can tell they're twins. They kind of look a bit... they look a bit different. But, I don't know, guys, look, listen. It's just, look at them. Oh, this is such a mess. My design capabilities were terrible when I was younger. Still bad, but certainly much, much worse back in the day. Oh, I don't understand my past choices. Again, in theory, but... it looks nice, but in practicality, ugly, ugly, ugly. I wonder, I think the old one, I have a sort of little drawing here of him, and he looks very, yeah, interesting. And that's really all I've drawn for the twins. Like, that's kind of their personalities. One's confident, one's less, well, he's probably confident, he's just quiet about it. Quiet confidence. He gets stuff done. I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to get stuff done in leather. It doesn't seem to be... In fact, the way I've rendered this, it looks more like latex, if anything. Is latex flexible? I don't know. I have been trying out a new type of shading where I shade out large blocks of their skin, which has kind of looked okay. You can see a bit of depth. You know, I have been trying out changing the line art as well, the colours. So in this one I decided to do it, and I changed the line art to fit. I don't know how to describe it. When on the inside, so the outermost line will be black, or like the darkest colour you choose, and then the inner lines will be lighter. And I think that's quite good. And I quite enjoyed it. It was really difficult, especially because I didn't want to make the inner lines too light. And you can kind of see that here, like they kind of look more ethereal than villainous. But it's okay, it's alright. I'm gonna gush about my work for a bit. I do love the poses. I thought they were really nice and dynamic. That was really fun to do. And I quite like the line art, despite its flaws. And it was really fun drawing them. It was a good time. I feel like I should probably draw them more, maybe change their outfits, make them more practical. We'll see if I ever get to that. Okay, so I talked about the heroes a bit last episode, but I didn't really explain anything about their previous designs. So we start off with, I'm just drawing the base of the human, and the very first thing that I was really interested in was like, oh, what if instead of big poofy dresses they wore like, I don't know what they're called, dungarees? They're like shorts versions of dungarees, and they have two different types. So for some people, like I've actually forgotten their names. This is like criminal. I keep forgetting their names. Janet and Varda, for example, they're kind of like lovers. So I thought, oh, if I connect them in this way, that might be quite cool. I guess I was thinking that in the past. I don't really remember. But they both have kind of sharp points where their chest is. So the kind of like, I guess the boob part like goes into a sharp point, and so do their shoes. Now for Rihanna and Freya, they're kind of like besties. I wouldn't say they're not roommates per se, but they are good friends, and they also have a similar coloured leotard. I guess, would you call it a leotard? And earlier I was bashing them too. I mean, look at them. I'm doing the exact same thing here. Anyway, they have more rounded edges by the chest and by the shoes. The colours are also different. So for Janet and Varda, they have bright blue, whereas for Rihanna and Freya, they have a greyish blue, and it leans away from the green, more to the purple. So now we're going on to the belts. So you know how in magical girl shows they always have their little trinkets, and that allows them to turn into their magical girl forms. So I thought, like, what if it wasn't so obnoxious and visible, especially for, I don't know, I didn't like them very much, I have to say. Like, I just hate the idea of something so, like, small, loud, and bright, and blah. So I thought, what if it was, like, more discreet, like a belt? And these belts aren't very discreet, but the idea was there. So they also had kind of colours and materials corresponding to the colour of their leotard. So Janet and Varda, with the bright blue, they came with the gold, the quite bright gold belts. So the more rounded one is Janet, and the more sharp one is Varda's. And Varda's quite sort of energetic, so she gets kind of a more sharp one. Now, Freya, she is kind of quite calm, but she's also like the main character. So I wanted to make sure she still had kind of like a semi-sharp belt, but hers lies on the hip instead of pointing down at the front. And of course, Rihanna's is a sharp one, it points down at the front. But both of theirs, Freya and Rihanna's, are made of bronze. Their weapons are, so Rihanna has got the sword, kind of like a claymore. Varda, of course, has the staff. It's kind of a light bronze, whereas Rihanna's sword is a more like a deeper bronze, more bronze is in it. I'm guessing, I don't know how metal works. And Janet has the yo-yo. It's made of bronze as well, interestingly, and of course Freya has the orbs. So none of them really have any gold weapons, which is fair enough, gold's quite weak, so it wouldn't make sense. Yeah, these are their weapons, really. That's just like to give context, so that's kind of how they fight. So Varda, she's quite quick, she's quite nimble, so she has a little spear that she can move around relatively quickly with it, but then still stab when she needs to. I think Rihanna's sword represents her steadiness, her like reliability quite well. I feel like it's a strong object, and I feel like she'd be the best to wield it, probably the strongest of the group, to be honest, if we pretend it's a claymore. Freya, I feel like Freya's quite hidden and shy, so she'd use a more long-range weapon, the magical power. And the yo-yo, I feel like, yeah, Janet would be like sneaky and attack you from behind when you least expect it. Thank you so much for watching this absolute mess, and I hope to see you next time.
This is the outro. Welcome to the outro. This is the outro. Welcome to the outro. This must be the most wonderful outro you've ever seen. Even professional. So I plead you to say this is the most professional outro.